Hey guys, this is the Blue 7 with another intro to Lich King. So I love the feedback that I got from Evergale. It looks pretty cool, and I've already seen some people have looked at it. I'm just happy to say thank you for what you've done. But I did say I was working on another project. This is my other project, Lich King. So, Lich King, who is he? He's a melee carry tank disabler. And in summary, Lich King is a melee attack hero who has plenty of damage reduction and health to keep himself alive while also using crowd control and skeletons to make sure he gets his kill. So if we look over to his abilities over here in the overview section, ignore the talent trees. I don't know why they're like that. I don't know why two are showing. But Frostfire. Frostfire is his first ability. It's an active ability, as in the moment he activates it, it immediately activates. Lich King enchants his sword with the Frostfire from his lands, temporarily stealing movement speed and attack speed upon enemy heroes. Meaning, Lich King activates this ability, and his sword is now enchanted. And for the duration, as he strikes heroes, he slowly steals a percentage of their movement speed and attack speed. Self-explanatory. And it scales based on its level, of course. And you can only have a max, meaning that if you hit like 10 different heroes, you're not going to steal the max from each of them. Once you hit the max, you're done. You can't steal anymore, even if you hit a hero you've never hit. And it goes away once the duration is done, and the stats are returned back to their proper heroes. We go to the second ability, Undead Armor. Lich King is sustained through his undead servants, reducing damage taken from all sources, including pure damage, and reduced further by recreation. So, recreation is the ability next. I'll show that whenever I get to it, but as you level this ability up, it will reduce all damage coming in from you. Now, look what it says. It says including pure damage. And it said all damage, meaning this guy straight up negates all damage coming to him at a certain rate. And it's increased based on his next skill, Recreation. But that's what it does, so be aware of that. It is not affected by magic resist, it just straight up gets the pure numbers and reduces it. It's not by a lot though, it's not like by like 70% or something, it's pretty low-ish. So, Recreation, what's that ability? Recreation is his third ability, and by the way, I forgot to mention Undead Armor is a passive, Recreation is a passive with an active. Recreation. Lich King recreates whoever he kills into his own followers, gaining him stacks which give him damage reduction, and once past max, can be activated, consuming all extra stacks to summon undead soldiers on target enemy whose damage scales with Lich King while slowing the enemy. So recreation is one of Lich King's best skills, and most likely is the one that's going to be maxed during gameplay. So, what this basically means is, each time he kills a creep, gets an assist, or gets a kill, he's going to gain stacks. Think of like Shadow Fiend's Necromastery, in a sense. So he gains stacks upon these things. For an assist, even if he wasn't a part of it, he gains an assist, he gains the stacks. He gets a kill, he gets stacks. Gets a creep kill, gets stack. But it doesn't give him damage like Shadow Fiend. What this thing does is, whenever he gets it, it gives him damage reduction, just like Undead Armor. It only gives him like a tiny bit per thing, but notice how it said it goes past max. What this means is that once he has his max, he gains a separate buff that has all of his max. Well, all of his stacks past max. And what that means is this ability can be activated once he has more than past his max. And what that does is it's a channeling ability. So it goes from a passive to a channel, and he activates it on target enemy, and they are slowed, and all of his extra stacks are consumed. Meaning that if he has, let's say the max is 50, and he has 70 stacks, 20 stacks are consumed, and 20 skeletons are now summoned on the target enemy whose damage scales with Lich King, while that target enemy is slowed for a bit of duration. And so here's how the slow works. He's slowed for all the duration. Problem is, once you stop the duration, he is slowed for an additional, well, however much it says at the bottom. Now we go to his ultimate, Frozen Waste. After a short delay, Lich King stabs his sword into the ground, causing ice to spread across the ground around him, stunning everyone in the area, as well as consuming all of his recreation stacks and summoning skeletons to all units in the area. based on the current number of stacks. The number of skeletons is spread out throughout all units in the area. So what this means is, it's a giant stun. Think of about Tide Hunter's stun, you know, but a little bit shorter, you know. And what happens is, all people who are stunned in this, you know, they're stunned in the ice area. But what happens is, all of his recreation stacks are consumed, meaning if he has 50 stacks, that means 50 skeletons are summoned in that area. But it's not like 50 skeletons are summoned to each unit in that area. Let's say there are 10 units in that area, and he has 50 stacks. That means only 5 skeletons get summoned per unit, if I did my math right. So basically you want to activate this only when there are a few hand select heroes there. You know, because you kind of don't want to put creeps in the mix. Kind of sucks. It doesn't count your own troops, only enemy troops. And that's pretty cool, actually. I like it. He is a strength hero, by the way, if you haven't noticed over here. I don't really know how intelligence, agility, and strength scaling work, or attack speed, or movement speed, or armor, or any of that stuff. So, yeah, I really don't know how that works. So, don't pay attention to that over there. But then we move on to his talent tree. Again, I don't know why there are 2 of these things, but at level 10, he can either gain 20 damage or 2 health regen. I don't know, it might seem a bit broken with the health regen. Yeah. But keep in mind, he's a strength hero. Level 15, 5 armor, or 8 magic resist, because you know he's tanky. At level 20, plus 10 extra % frost fire max, so you can steal 10% more, so your max goes from like 40 to 50 now. Or plus 300 health. And at level 25, I like this. Plus 5 stacks for killing anything, that includes a creep. You'll know how this ties in with his recreation soon enough. But 5 stacks for killing anything includes creep, or 100% skeleton scale damage. His skeletons scale with his damage, and it's decent for the ability, what I believe. But with this ability, they straight up just hit as hard as he can with lower health. Oh, that's gonna really suck, you know. So, if we go on to his bio, this is his lore that I made for him. Now, if you want to skip the lore, you can skip ahead. If not, I'm going to go over the whole thing. This is not based on anything that I know of, you know? Because I don't know actual Lich King. I didn't even know Lich King was a character until fairly recently, as I was making him. So, if you want to skip the lore, go ahead. Keep in mind, this is 100% my creation. I did not take this from anyone or anything in any way, shape, or form. Lich King used to be the king of all at one point, when everything was ice, and he was alive. He ruled a vast kingdom with plenty of servants who followed his cause, or died. One day Lich King found out that his servants were planning to kill him, as they thought he was unjust, not entirely wrong. Lich King, ready to state his power, began executing anyone who was related to the insurgents, innocent or not. This caused the rebel group to run and gather arms to fight the king. The day came when there were thousands at the king's door, and he gave the order to attack. His army stood down and joined the insurgents. Furious, the king only had a handful of faithful servants by his side. Knowing what was out there, they still followed him. And he said, "Forgive me." And they did. He was grateful to have them by his side. They rushed into battle, managing their own, but slowly, one by one, he lost servants, until it was just him. The leader of the insurgents didn't fight at all, but came to deal the last blow to the king, and just like his rule, he fell. However, when the king's body fell, he spoke, "Give me vengeance." And with a blast of light from the sky, Lich King arose and summoned the skeletons of his fallen friends and army to fight. One by one, they fell and joined the king. He overwhelmed the insurgents, and as they tried to run, the king stabbed his sword into the ground, causing snow and ice to flood the land. Some say he roams the land in the cold north. Some say he taught the Maiden of Blue. But if you cross him, he will only say one thing before striking you down. "I am the Lich King." Fun lore, right? I made that myself, and pardon me for all my spelling and grammar errors, and if I didn't say exactly what was on the page. Not really that good at reading that well. As you can tell, I'm kind of sucking. Ignore these stats, as I have no idea what the hell this thing is. So now we're going to go into the actual nitbits of the ability. If you don't want to go through the ability, then the video is basically over at this point. But these are basically the stats and the numbers of the abilities. So, the abilities of Frostfire. As you can see, movement steal per hit. At level 1, he steals 2 movement speed and attack speed per hit. As you can see on the right, they are in the exact same scaling. But the ones on the right are to max, meaning at max level, you can steal 50 per frickin' cent of whoever the hell you hit. So if you target that all-in-one enemy, they're slowed and attack you for 50% less. Really sucks. Does this pierce spell immunity? No, it does not. Attack speed and movement speed steal per hit are also the same scaling. So at level 1 you steal 2 per hit, 4 per hit, 7 per hit, and 10% per hit. So, works kind of out. Remember, don't look at the numbers. This is mainly for a concept. If you think numbers can be tweaked, that's really up to dotacinima. Because I am submitting this to dotacinima, and I really hope that they enjoy it. But, mana cost and cooldown. It has a mana cost of 10, and at max level 50, cooldown 20. Now, the cooldown probably seems a bit reasonable to me, maybe a bit higher. And the mana cost, some people may be saying, whoa, that's way too low of a mana cost. Well, then I can increase it at any point in time. And also keep in mind, Lich King's a strength hero. He doesn't have too much mana. And even though 50, yeah, late game, that kind of doesn't really pool in. Really, whatever the heck is up to him. Now, move on to the next one. Undead Armor. So, as you can see, it's just straight up one thing. Damage reduction. At level 1, he reduces 5% of all damage. Level 2, 7% of all damage. Level 3, 10%, and 4, 15%. So, straightforward. That's all it really has. But, 15% of all damage coming at you. That's gonna suck for, like, Laguna Blade. Now we move on to Recreation. This has a lot of information because it has the skeleton information along with it. So, as you can see in the top, stacks gained per creep kill, 1. Stacks gained per assist, 3. Stacks gained per kill, 6. Meaning, whenever he kills these things or does these things, he gains this many stacks. Now, how much can he hold exactly? Well, if you look around, I can't remember where I put it. Right under there. Max stacks. At level 1, 12. Level 2, 24. Level 3, 36. Level 4, 50. Meaning that that's how much stacks he has normally. And as you can see on the right side, additional damage reduction per 10 stacks. Now as you can see, his max is 50 stacks. Meaning that he can only have this thing 5 times. So, additional damage reduction per stack? 1. Meaning, if he has max stacks, he gains an additional 5% damage reduction, which adds up to a total of 20%. Keep in mind, he does have these stacks, and he does use them. I'm thinking about making it to where he, loses these stacks, some of these stacks upon death, because it'd be kind of broken if he just kept it the whole time. The enemy slow is over on the right side. And remember, this is a channeling ability, and it channels for as long as he wants, as long as he has skeletons to push out that are past his max. So on the right side you can see, up to max level, he slows them for 70%. They are basically dead in the water at that point. But he's channeling. While the skeletons are attacking him, yes, but he is channeling. They're not stunned, so they can blink out of it, turn invisible, or other things. And once he breaks the casting channel, all stacks are consumed anyway, which is probably something I should have wrote in there, and no additional skeletons are summoned. So, kind of sucks if you get stopped. So, use like a glimmer cape for this or something. The enemy slow duration is 3. This is after he stops channeling. Does this pierce spell immunity? No, it does not. Now, this is kind of the skeleton area. Skeleton scale damage. So, skeletons scale with his damage by 15%, 30%, 45%, and 60%. So at max level, they're hitting for more than half of his damage, which kind of sucks. Again, don't look at the numbers on this. I don't really know how good numbers tie in with other things, so I'm not really that good at numbers. But, skeleton health. This one I'm fairly certain on. 75, 100, 150, 200. Now, going into the late game, Animage can just sneeze on it and they die. But that's how it's going to work. Battle Fury would really counter his skeletons, as they are not immune to spells. Skeletons' movement speed, same as Lich King's. And Skeleton's duration. These skeletons, once they're summoned, last 15 seconds from the ground. As in, once they're summoned, they have a tick timer of 15 seconds, regardless if they kill them or not. Now, there is a limit past your max, because it'd be pretty bad on the game if you have like thousands of these, you know? So, limit past your max is 90. Meaning you have your 50 from your maximum, and then 40 extra, and 40 extra for your stack purposes. I think about changing that to 100, because that's just really ticking me off. I'll do that later. So, we'll go over to Frozen Waste, his ultimate. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't been looking at the mana cost, just right there. Right there. I actually realized I didn't give Recreation a mana cost. I actually did, but I accidentally unchecked it, meaning it is not shown. Mana cost I had for this ability was going to be something like 100. I wanted this to be expensive to his mana pool. And I don't really know how much mana he's going to have, but, you know, something to be expensive. The cooldown was going to be something like 70 seconds, because this is a pretty game-changing ability if you can just shit on one hero. And so I wanted to make sure that it wasn't used that frequently. 70 seconds is a pretty decent cooldown for this. And sorry about not putting that there. Again, it's an unfinished hero, still tweaking things. Frozen Wastes, its area of effect is 900. So, like I said, a little bit smaller than Tidehunters. Stun duration is right here. I now realize that that stun is way too freaking big. 3.5 seconds at max level? If anyone out there wants it to be lower, go ahead. If anyone thinks it's great, that's great. The amount of skeletons consumed is your extra stacks and your full stacks. So meaning it can be about 100 once I fix the maximum. And the max skeletons per hero is 10. Meaning that even though you have 100 skeletons, only 10 can be summoned to a hero. And so you also got to make sure, is it worth it whenever you're activating your ultimate? Because, well, you know, if you have like 100 stacks and there's only one hero, all your stacks are consumed, but only 10 are summoned. Well, you want to make sure it's pretty worth it. And max skeletons per creep is 2. So, which meaning, if there are a ton of creeps, they're going to be taking a big chunk out of you. That should be all for this video, you know. That should be basically everything. That should be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this Lich King character. And I really hope that Dotacinima would put it into their concept game. I really love Dota, and I'm sorry for not posting in a long time. And a message to anyone in Dotacinima. Please, give this hero a chance. This actually wasn't my concept, it was made by my brother, but we worked on it together. And I really like this concept. I really like how it works. I know the numbers can be changed, and I'm willing to be flexible on what the numbers are. I'm going to fix all my little errors here that I had. And I just really hope that you guys give this a chance. And that should be it for my message to Dotacinima. So, to all you out there, links will be in the description to Dotacinima's channel, where the heck you can submit this hero, and of course, the hero itself. So, that should be all. 7867. See you in the next video.